seconds of welcome here on the live stream. Coming to you around 12:15. Yeah, 12:15 on the dot. Look at that. 12:15, Tuesday, July 14th. Opened the shop about 7 minutes late today because my dear friend down the block, Brian of Cow Over the Moon, just got in a whole bunch of comic books, and he was sending me messages going, is this good? Is this good? Is this good? Can you come by and take a look? Can you come by and take a look? And I was like, you know what? It will make everyone's life better. Hey, Dave, if I go take a book, he got a huge, I think about 25 Marvel treasuries in stunning shape. The Marvel 1975 calendar, the Marvel 1976 calendar. And I said, look, those two, because we're talking about like what's worth like putting on eBay and what's worth trying to, I said, those two you should put up in the shop. Like go on eBay, figure out a price you want for them and put them up, because those are just cool to have. Pristine copies of the 1975, 1976 Marvel calendars. Like, I'm like, that's just cool. But yeah, so I looked through stuff for him, and of course it took longer than the 5 minutes we both said it should take. So open to drop late, but now I can tell people if they walk in and go, hey, I'm looking for some minor keys, I'll be like, oh, well, you know, before he goes and puts them on eBay, you might want to hit up Brian at Cow Over the Moon. He's got some Black Phoenix. He's got Superman, Spider-Man, 1976 in beautiful shape, like stunning. A Star Wars treasury in good shape. A 2001 Space Odyssey in good shape. And hopefully he's got boxes there. He's just got a whole bunch of random boxes at that store at Cow Over the Moon, right down the block, that are kind of like, just dip your hand in. So I told him, I took literally 2/3 of the stuff, obviously, and I said, just put those in the bins and people will be thrilled to pay you $2 per issue. Like, you know, Marvel 2-in-1s, Marvel Tales, Spider-Man, like nothing insane, not early issues of any of those. I said, yeah, just, you know, these are, he's like, this is what I wanted. So what's not worth my time? I'm like, I'm not saying no one's going to pay for these, but they're not high end. A bunch of Conan magazines, a bunch of Conan issues. So yeah, I opened to drop late, but now I know what he has in case someone comes in. He knows what's worth money for him. And yeah, everyone wins. But more importantly, new graphic novels. I have been so lax. This Tuesday are the days when we do this, when we look at the new books, and it has not been the case for about 3 weeks. For about 3 weeks, we have not been good about showing off all these beautiful new books. So let's start doing that right now, since it looks like we've got people. We've got Katie Skelly's Heaven. Depending on which distributor you get, you might get this. Judgment on Gotham? I don't think he had Judgment on Gotham. You might have gotten this last week. It's Katie's wonderful book about the lives of women in a club. I'm Fine with Being the Second Girlfriend, a very ecchi book, but not plastic wrapped. Actually has a bit of a romance at its heart. Speaking of bit of a romance at heart, this is upside down. There we go. Tease Me Harder, Volume 3. This is the BDSM shoujo, adorable romance book that happens to center around a girl who's into submission. She's into submission, and she's in her first really good, mature relationship, and she wants her boyfriend to enjoy that with her. That's literally what the whole series is about. Very, very adorable. Honeybee and Lemon Bomb, second volume of a BL, speaking of adorable, about two mismatched men, as so many BLs are. The Adventure Zone! The McElroys are back. More like Carrie Pitch is back. Carrie Pitch rendition of the Adventure Zone characters is so perfect. You almost want to say it's pitch perfect. And the coloring, I forgot who does the coloring. Some volumes have different people, so I don't want to just say names. Really fantastic. This is volume 7 in the series, volume 7 of the Adventure Zone, now in stock. Catnaps everywhere. If you know Pandania, they just love cats. They do a bazillion little cute comic books about cats. This one is about a cat who just falls asleep in the weirdest little places. We usually sell out of these pretty quickly. We got a new little golden book, The Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer, little golden book. Little golden book telling you about the Silver Surfer. Norrin Radd, Toomey, his board. Parasite Paperback Collection 8. This is the digitally remastered editions in softcover. Bum, bum, bum. Batman Blind Justice. Some of you may know the name Sam Hamm as the writer of Batman 1989 and Batman Returns. He teamed up with artist Dennis Cowan, one of the great, and Alan Grant and Norm Brayfogle continued the idea in a new run on Batman in the 80s. This is the DC Finest collection. It collects about 2 years of a book, generally. Sometimes 20 issues, sometimes 24. So this is Sam Hamm and Dennis Cowan, followed by Alan Grant and Norm Brayfogle. It's quite a great run of Batman. I've constantly said we need a good volume of exactly this stuff. Unfortunately, it is $40, so keep that in mind. It's about $2 a comic, which isn't bad, but keep in mind the price. Poison Ivy Volume 7, Amuse-Bouche. This is the big one. I already ordered more copies. Can we just talk? Let's take a minute. You know what? We'll come back to these two. These two we'll look at later. Infamous Iron Man, The Rise of Doom. It has come out in many of these rumors that have ended up being true down the line. In the Marvel films, they're very much saying that Victor Von Doom is the Iron Man of his world. And so I assume they're reprinting Infamous Doom for that reason. This is a series in which Victor Von Doom, thinking Tony Stark is dead, decides to make up for his legacy and be a good guy. We can talk about that if you want, but these two are a lot more exciting. Venom, Black, White, and Blood. This is a collection of Venom stories in just 3 colors. Obviously, black, white, and you guessed it, red. This is the Treasury size, really nice edition of the horrible, really intense, violent stories. The deluxe edition of Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Nice little hardcover of the original team up between these two, which is now about 8 years old. Skip that one for a second. K-Pop Demon Hunters coloring book, the official coloring book of K-Pop Demon Hunters, just come out. And Mac and Cheese, the origin story, how these two best bros who goes best together became best bros who go best together. Isn't that great? Isn't that adorable? Great picture book. All right, 3 books we're going to talk about that are like why we exist. You know what I mean? Like why this store is here. These 3 books right here, these 3 books are a huge part of what makes Escape Pod Comics Escape Pod Comics. These are crossover books. These are books that someone who has no interest in reading a comic book, doesn't know what a comic book is, but tells me, oh, I like X, Y, and Z. I'm like, well, this is X, Y, and Z. I like A, B, and C. Well, this is A, B, and C. I like R, a little bit of Q, and a silent N. And then it's like, I'm sorry, did you say The Hunger in the Dusk? So, why? What does that mean? What are we all about? We're all about getting people comics that they want to read, whether they're reading superheroes or manga for 20 years or they've never looked at a comic book before. So first off, Planetary. Planetary is probably one of the greatest contributions the Wildstorm universe gave to comic books. Planetary, let's see if I can do what? It's this meets this meets this. Planetary is X-Files meets Lost meets Sinners. Yeah, X-Files meets Lost meets Sinners. Planetary is about a 3-person team, 4-person really, but the 4th person's silent, never around, whose job it is to explore parts of the world that people just wouldn't understand. So here in issue 2, they're meeting Doc Savage. They go through the pulp era. They go and meet with somebody who explored an underground world and fought Morlocks. Quick Vertigo cameo of most of the Vertigo characters. This is the John Constantine issue where they meet an occult detective. This is the Tokyo Ghost issue. All great pop culture tropes. Eventually it does tie in briefly with the rest of Wildstorm with the Authority books, but only very briefly. This is a book for somebody who loves a crazy psycho thriller show with an amazingly intense cast of characters. This is for your X-Files fan. This is for your conspiracy theory fans. This is really just for so many different kinds of people. And Cassidy, he's such an exceptional artist. No longer with us, unfortunately. His pacing for each issue and each genre stays consistent. This is basically Fantastic Four issue, by the way, if you're wondering. That's the Invisible Woman. One of the perfect issues of superhero comics ever written. Where's the kaiju one? Yeah. There's a Dr. Moreau one. Oh, just tremendous stuff. And if you don't know the source material, if you don't know all the things they're referencing, the story still hit perfectly as part of the narrative of Elijah Snow coming onto the team and everything he discovers. It still works even if you don't know all the references, like the Looney Tunes stuff, you know? All right, next, Adèle Blanc-Cinq. All right, this has been made into a movie. This is Jacques Tardy. Now, this is actually one of the less weird things Jacques Tardy has drawn. Jacques Tardy is a surrealist. His comics very often are filled with non sequitur. Adèle is much more straightforward. It's a world in which time is broken and the dinosaurs have come through to Victorian London, and so steampunk solutions have been made to fight the dinosaurs. Okay, so it's basically a crazy French new wave action adventure surrealist cyberpunk series. And Tardy is just, he's just exceptional. This is exactly like, I've read comics, but like the only ones that I've ever liked are Mouse, Persepolis. Those are like, the way they are is really smart. I didn't like Watchmen, but I love the Marx Brothers. I love Godard. I love French cinema. I love Terrence Malick, Lars von Trier. I wasn't gonna say anything about that, Dave. I wasn't gonna correct you. I think they do have a Batman-esque story also in Planetary. They meet a billionaire who's a little deranged from family. Anyway, I think, but it's a long time since I read all of Planetary. The Hunger and the Dusk, Volume 2. This book, we have been waiting for this book for about 3 years. I'm not gonna get into why and how, but two of my favorite comic creators on a personal level, G. Willow Wilson and Chris Wildgoose, launched this years ago as a very in-depth fantasy world epic. The orcs and the humans have been fighting for generations, and ancient evil out of their shared history has now come, is killing them both indiscriminately, and they have to team up. You follow a troop of warriors, one of whom married a human to make peace, and the diplomatic area, family, princes, whatever, who are also working together to find peace and kill these bad guys. It's supposed to be 12 issues. They then made it 6 and said there's going to be a second part, whatever. But it's finally here. If you like high fantasy, you love Lord of the Rings, you love Game of Thrones, you love your spicy romantasy. There's a little bit of interspecies spiciness in this. A little tasteful, but if you're going to get those Minotaur books, no, you're not getting what you want here. But if you just like a little bit, it's there, and it's just fantastically written. G. Willow Wilson, she's fantastic. Chris Wildgoose, I've been pushing Chris Wildgoose for over a decade. Porcelain, Briar, Chris Wildgoose, he's just. His acting, his facial expressions are so simple and cartoony while also being wonderful. His page design, look how well this page flows. It's literally people standing around talking, very important reasons for the plot, but just tremendous, Chris Wildgoose. And then you have these really crowded pages and they just don't feel that way. You feel the space of there being tons of people, but you don't feel overwhelmed. It's really, he's tremendous. So this is, again, for any fan, I like high fantasy. You could like Elric. There's very doomed people in this. You could like, it's just tremendous. So those 3 books really, to me, are a reason to exist. Most stores, there'll be a lot of great stores that are very graphic novel centric. They're going to have this. Okay? There's a lot of great stores that are very Dark Horse, Image. They're going to have load, like they'll have piles. There are stores, I would not be surprised if you go into Fourth World on Wednesday and there is not just piles of Planetary on the bottom. Like this is it. This is all Planetary. This is all Planetary. Get it. I only waited until it was in print to order more because I'm trying to keep my ordering tight. But I started pulling it for people who might want it, and I went, yeah, I need more. So that you'll see. But Hunger in the Dusk, I know at least 3 people who I told about this new printing and went, oh, I forgot that existed. Oh, I didn't. I know personally 4 or 5 stores that will have all 3 of these books. But I have a few friends who have really great stores with the wide selection. I don't think they're going to have all 3 of these. They might have 1 of them. They might have 2 of them. But yeah, so we really try to give a nice wide range, and I really been feeling over the last couple of days. I've really been feeling that. People have been coming in. They're really taking with what they find. I hear a lot of conversations about, oh my gosh, what? When is it? That are positive. In a real positive, they end in a real positive light. And that's really what we've always been here to do. I do think the green shelves, the rearrange we did on the green shelves, which is getting a video this Thursday on YouTube. Set a reminder, whatever. We're going to have a new video up of how the green shelves got fixed with a nice final look at what they look like now. Again, we're not moving a lot more books off of those shelves. It's going to take years until people get comfortable with how these look, I think, because they involve more in-depth looking, though it's winter customers, people coming in out of the cold who want to waste their time. They'll like slowly go through these shelves, but they've been garnering more interest, so slightly more sales, and they're letting people feel more comfortable in this side and look at the stuff on this side, which I think is tremendous. So I'm very happy with how it's been going in the rearrange. Look for that video on Thursday. If you want any of these books added to your hold list and you've already got a hold list with us, holler at me. Very exciting stuff about hold list coming up in the next couple of weeks, by the way. Really exciting moves in the hold list department. And finally, don't forget this week's sale, BOGO, buy one, get one free on single issues, runs through Friday. Get to the store before Friday, and every single new standalone $3 number one, any of those issues you buy are buy one, get one free. All right? And tomorrow we'll be back to look at all the new single issues, which, by the way, unless you have a hold list for them, are buy one, get one free. And if you do have a hold list for them, even better, whatever you have in your hold list, you have 6 books that you asked me to put aside for you, you can grab 6 free books. So it's still BOGO, but you got to pay for the 6 you ordered. Until tomorrow, when we see how that works with customers, remember, damn it, babies, you got to be kind.